It's wild to me that Mike Vrabel is now plus 175 to win Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Shane Steichen and the Colts have been the story of the season thus far, but they just lost. And so Steichen is now plus 150, only 25 cents ahead of Mike Vrabel in that race. Do you think there is a way that Shane Steichen does not win Coach of the Year?
Oh, sure. There's always a way. Always. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in the latter half of the season. So we're at week 10, right? So we're just right there, just past the halfway point. And we see this all the time in the NFL. There will be a team that starts losing that shouldn't be losing, or that didn't lose the first half of the season very much. And then we'll see the opposite. We'll see a team kind of come out of nowhere and start winning. Like, who knows? Let's say the Jags win 4 or 5 straight. Liam Cohen right now is 30-1. I don't know their schedule. I'm not keeping up with the Jags. I'm just saying some team will surprise us. Some team will disappoint us. It's the National Football League. It happens each and every single year. I don't think the Colts are going to do that. Is the possibility there? Sure. Absolutely. Could Daniel Jones regress and suddenly be the Danny Dimes that played behind that awful offensive line in New York? Yeah, it could happen. I don't think it's going to. But there will be one of these teams near the top, and they will falter. Guaranteed.
Well, the craziest part is that both these teams are so kind of parallel. Like, I understand, like, the story has been the Colts, but, like, the Patriots are a damn good story as well. They were not a good team last year, and Mike Vrabel is a first-year head coach with the Patriots. I understand he's coached for the Titans, but you get what I'm saying. So, I don't know. I feel like as far as narratives go, maybe you get a slight bump in New England simply because that's a market that gets more attention than Indianapolis. But it's going to be a race down the stretch. And then let me ask you this. Do you think it's anybody other than those two coaches? Because to me, it does feel like a 2-horse race. Mike Macdonald certainly has a case out in Seattle. He is 5-1 to win Coach of the Year. And the Seahawks have been a team that have been gaining steam and one of the best teams in the NFC, at least as far as their record goes. Does anybody else win this award? Or is it Mike Vrabel or Shane Steichen?
I think Macdonald has a chance. I don't know why I'm so high on the Seahawks. I just feel like when you look at complete teams and teams that have experience, like the thing with the Patriots is that Vrabel has the edge because the Patriots were so bad last year, right? This is a 4-win team. So the fact that he's turned them around so quickly gives him a massive edge. And you can say the same thing about Steichen. The one thing about Mike Macdonald which hurts him is that the Seahawks weren't terrible last year. So he's going to really have to go on a run here. But if those top two teams falter, the Seahawks are right there, and this is a very complete team, and that defense is just really nasty. I feel like whenever you're talking about a team on the West Coast that maybe isn't the Rams or Niners, we kind of push the Seahawks and Cards to the side a little bit, especially Arizona. But I think a case can be made for Mike Macdonald. And frankly, Kyle Shanahan is sitting at 16-1. I don't think he's going to win it, but he has done a hell of a job with all of the bodies they have lost. Like, that will get lost in the mix because the Niners have been so good, or at least competitive, for a long time. But Shanahan has done a hell of a job too because their injury list is essentially a mash unit.
Right. But this award is also based on like narratives. And
for
so
sure.
it's hard for like entrenched coaches to win it. Like, I was just laughing. Andy Reid of the Chiefs is 150-1. It's wild that I need to double check this, but I'm pretty sure he has never won Coach of the Year, which is wild. You know, for all the Super Bowl rings that he's won, you would think, hey, maybe he should be Coach of the Year. But it's just not the way the award works. Like, usually it is a first-year head coach or a coach that turns around a very, very bad team. So it's kind of an interesting award in that aspect. I'm looking at the Patriots schedule down the stretch, and it does feel like they have a lot of winnable games. But I think the biggest roadblock for them is that, you know, they still have to play the Bills. And do you think it matters if the Patriots win their division? Because here's the thing, like, the Colts are winning the AFC South.
Right.
And I do feel like they're very much in the driver's seat. And you look at their schedule, and their two tough ones, I think, you know, for the rest of the season, is they do play the Chiefs on November 23rd, and then they go on the road to the Seahawks December 14th. But other than that, like, their schedule is very palatable. The Patriots have the Bucks coming up next, which they're underdogs in that game. Then they play the Bills December 14th. And that's pretty much it for them. Depends on what we see from the Ravens, because they do play the Ravens December 21st, but we're not sure like what that team actually is right now. But do you think that goes into the mix? Like if a team doesn't win their division, or do you think it's just wins and losses?
As long as you make the playoffs, I think that's all that matters, ultimately. Just get in. You know what I mean? Of course you want to win the division. Of course you want, if you can get it, home field advantage, you want all the benefits that come with winning as many games as possible and making that playoff run comfortable. But if you're a team like the Patriots, if you win the division, that's just bonus, right? That's just cream. That's just whipped cream on top of the sundae. That's the cherry on the sundae, because nobody expected this. I'm telling you, the Patriots are the Commanders of last year. They are playing with house money. And so anything that they do from this point forward is a surprise. And so if they win the division, awesome. If they don't, just make the playoffs and see what happens. And that's what makes a team like the Patriots dangerous, because when you're playing without expectations, then there's no pressure because you weren't supposed to be here in the first place. So for a team like New England, just get in and see what happens.
Yeah, I will say their odds are pretty short to win the AFC East, just plus 135. The Bills, of course, the entrenched favorites at minus 175. But remember, the Patriots have already won the first head-to-head meeting of that matchup, and then they get the next matchup at home on December 14th. So we'll see down the stretch. It should be really interesting. Jenks, who do you think wins that division? Do you think it's the Bills, or do you think the Patriots get the Bills when they play in New England?
Nah, I think it's the Bills. The Patriots are getting better, and this is not a facade. They're not doing it with smoke and mirrors, right? They're not like last year with the Commanders. I know I keep going back to that comparison, and it wasn't smoke and mirrors, but in the NFL, they had so many games where they were winning at the last second, like they won with the Hail Mary, or Jaden Daniels would throw a fourth quarter touchdown pass, and it was amazing. But it's hard to have everything like that come together in one season and go your way. If it does, you take advantage of it. It was magical. But to replicate that year in and year out is really, really difficult. And then you get to the playoffs and kind of you see teams with that championship experience sort of overcome you, and that's what happened to the Commanders in the NFC Championship game. So I kind of see something similar to the Patriots here, where everything's kind of going their way, not necessarily that same magic that Washington experienced, but having a very healthy team, a quarterback who's coming into his own, a head coach who has the attention of his team. They're playing together. All of those things are falling the Patriots' way, but at some point, they will probably run into a Bills team that has been there, done that. And so maybe you don't see what you want to from the Bills week in and week out, and their defense worries you. But that experience, having been there, means you can sort of take it to a next level when you need to. And that's what Buffalo did against Kansas City. And so that's why I think in the end, as impressive as the Patriots have been this season, it's still Buffalo's division to win.
Right. I think that it takes another jump. Like you see the jump from bad team to really good team.
Right.
But you kind of fizzle out when it comes to the postseason, kind of like we saw with the Commanders. Not that they fizzled out. They just met a better team in the Eagles, who absolutely dominated just about, everybody. But I feel like it's very, very difficult to go from really bad team to Super Bowl champ.
Yes.
Like that feels like a jump that should be made at least over 2 years and not one. And that's why I kind of have questions about the Colts and the Patriots. They're good teams, and I do think their success is repeatable, as opposed to like a couple years ago, it was like the Vikings and the Giants who won a bunch of close games. But like the eye test told you, these are not great teams. And then they got blown out in the playoffs. I don't think the Colts and Patriots fit that bill, but I still think that it's tough for them. The pathway for them to win a Super Bowl.